Hello, all the Reds fans out there. I'm back here. I'm Puan, and welcome to Cop Ultras, a podcast show. So, in today's episode, I'll be giving you guys a little bit of a coverage, a little bit of an update in terms of our team news, and also the main topic, which is going to be the match preview for two of our match days, which are going to happen around this week, which is going to be Wolves away and also Liverpool versus Lask in the UEFA Europa League. Yes, Lask, when unknown, not to say an unknown, but a very well-known Austrian club in Austrian Bundesliga. So we are going to have a little bit of preview since it's going to be our first ever match day in the UEFA Europa League. So I'll be covering that with you guys, and I'll be giving you guys a little bit of a roundup of team news and what to expect in terms of who's missing out through injury, who's returning from injury, and who could possibly be starting for us in these two matches, which are coming thick and fast in terms of club football is concerned. So with that, without further ado, let's get started. So guys, I'll get into the team news. I'll give you guys a very, very quick update as to what's happening around our club since the international break is now over. So a lot of our players are already back. There are a few players who are not yet joined into the first team training in terms of Thursday. There are a few players who have come in. So I've already done just a little bit of an update on, as I've shown you in my screen right here. So Liverpool have granted a day off for the players, our South American players, Alisson, Alexis McAllister, Luis Diaz, and Darwin Nunez. And the main reason I put it on the side there, the bracket as well, is for travel reasons. So since most of the matches which were being played by our players, our South American players, they were played mainly in the South American region. So in that case, most of our players have heavy traveling that needs to be done in order for them to arrive to Merseyside. So with that being said, a few of them have gotten a day off. Especially most notable is most of our first team players and our influential players who have gotten a day off. So they haven't joined in the Thursday team training as we can see in some of the videos and some of the updates that are being done. So in terms of that, these are the four players who are not available right now, but they will join in the team training. As far as I've researched, they would be in team training on Friday. So since our match day against Wolves is on Saturday, which is the first ever, is the early kickoff, which is on 7:30. So I think Jurgen Klopp would assess the players in terms of fitness and in terms of availability on Friday, which is today for us, but then for them it will be later on. So they will be assessed today to see whether if they would be available to feature for us against Wolves. I will come into Lask later on a little bit more in terms of lineup. So the next one was the most slightly a bit worrying, but not so much, which is just a muscle trouble for Darwin Nunez since he featured for Uruguay in a couple of games. So most likely Jurgen Klopp will not take a risk with Darwin Nunez in terms of his fitness and availability against Wolves. So you might see the likes of Gakpo, you might see the likes of Diogo Jota starting for us as well, despite the fact them also featuring in the international friendlies. But since they were more closer to more closer to England, since they are featuring for their European nations, so it's more likely that Jurgen Klopp might, rotate the squad and go on to them. And then Luis Diaz has also been, undertaking a lot of traveling since featuring for Colombia in the international friendlies that he has featured in. So most likely we can see them in training on Friday, which is today, and most probably they might not start. They probably be on the bench as we speak right now. So another most notable one would be Alexis McAllister. He had a stunning performance for Argentina in the international friendlies, and the most notable one would be, you guys would have known, Alexis McAllister dropping 100 million worth of player in Moises Caicedo and taking the ball into midfield. So that was a really, really fun part, which I really enjoyed. But then I never really watched a lot of international friendlies. It's not really my thing. International friendlies, it's more of like is the most annoying part of the season, whereby you would want to have club football in full force, but then you would have in certain areas, certain moments, you would have international breaks. So it's very annoying when I don't watch it. But then I did see this moment from Alexis McAllister on my phone I think most probably in Instagram, they were just putting it on. So I had see that. And then he also had a match against, he had a friendly against Bolivia. So apparently Bolivia's whole, the way the country is situated is in a very high altitude area, which is slightly more above sea level compared to every other South American country. So I think there, uh, weather is an issue, and also in terms of breathing, in terms of like respiratory and stuff like that. So due to the high altitude levels, I think players who go over to Bolivia to play against Bolivia tend to have oxygen tanks and whatnot being brought by the coaching staff in order for them to have sufficient amount of oxygen. It's not to be very scared about, but it's just a high altitude. It's more like in the lines of us uh, going to Sabah or Sarawak. Like for us Malaysians, like for us, we go to Sabah, for example, which has Kota Kinabalu and stuff like that. So probably the high altitude and stuff like that would garner coaching staff to be more extra careful with the players to not have palpitation or breathing issues when they are playing over in those kind of areas. So nothing to be worried about. He's going to come back and he's going to play with us. There's no serious issues. But then just to give you guys a reassurance, there's nothing. It's just a high altitude place where you go and play football. So that in order just to give you guys, so he needs to come back since it's in South America. He needs to travel all the way back to Europe, especially in England, and then he needs to, prepare himself in terms of jet lag and stuff like that. And then they'll be back in training on Friday, which is today. So, in terms of team news, that's the one. And then the most notable one would be I'm not sure if you guys would have noticed in some of the videos that were posted by the Liverpool admin in the Instagram pages, you would have spotted Trent. So apparently Trent is now alive and walking. So I think the hamstring injury, he's slowly recovering from it. But I won't say that it is highly likely that he would feature for us in the game against Wolves. Most probably he might face he probably feature against Lask in the Europa League, but then that one I will come to later. But in terms of us facing Wolves, I don't see Trent making a full recovery and coming into it just because, like I put over here, he's been cleared for light training, but then light training is just specifically means that he's doing a personal light training for himself to improve the condition of his hamstring injury and not put into the heavy training whereby he will be playing against his teammates. For example, the Friday training session where he will be joining into team training. So this is more of a personal training in order for him to get back into stride, get his hamstring back into order, and feature for us in upcoming matches. Most highly unlikely it would be Trent featuring for us in Wolves. Most probably you would see Joe Gomez. So I'll come back to the lineup later. So a couple of things that happened was like I said previously, many of the players have came back from international break. Like I've shown here on Thursday, this is the team. I mean, this is the Liverpool squad and the players who had joined in terms of training is concerned. So the goalkeepers would have been Kelleher, Adrian, Pitaluga, Yaros, Rozek, Miskue. These are all academy players. Allison would not be here. He would be only joining the Friday team training. For defenders, Van Dijk, Konate is back. Yes, I forgot to mention you guys earlier in team news just now. Ibu Konate is back. He's back in contention. I think you guys have viewed that video as well. He's back in contention. Most probably we would see how Jurgen would see how Konate performs in training and see whether he could feature. But then I feel that it's not he's not the type of player who we would think that we would rather bench him and put Matip, Gomez and whatnot to play against Wolves. So most likely you would have put Ivo Konate. So glad that he's back, fit again. Hopefully he can feature more games for us, and hopefully he does not, get into another injury ever again. So with that being said, the reason Van Dijk is there is because he's joining in team training, but he is suspended for the Wolves game. He might be able to feature for the next Premier League game and the other domestic games, upcoming games, due to the suspension that he received in the game against Newcastle. So Van Dijk is there for the team training. Konate is there. Gomez, Matip, Kwanzaa, Robertson, Shimika, Scanlon. And then you would have Soboslai in midfield, who is back. Jones, Gravenberch, Endo, Elliott, Bajcetic, Clark, McConnell. And then in the forwards, you would have Salah, Gakpo, Jota, and Do. So these players are the ones who have trained on Thursday. They will most likely as well be training on Friday as well. Those players who haven't joined in on team training, they will join in on Friday, like I said previously. So, with that being said, this is the team news. Then I would now want to discuss about our lineup versus Wolves and Lask. So, I will start with Wolves first, then I will go into Lask. So, last season, we played against Wolves. They didn't play well at all. Lost 3-0. Hoping for a turn in fortunes for us. Hopefully this season we can get a good kickstart. Our first 4 games we did really well. 1 draw, 3 wins. So we have momentum on our side due to the fact that with the events that happened against Bournemouth and especially Newcastle, and I feel that the mentality is it's coming back. The whole the mentality monsters and the never say die attitude is coming back to Liverpool. So I'm highly expecting them to get 3 points. Wolves are not really in a good spot right now. Haven't really won much games. I think they've only won 1 and drawn or lost 3 or something like that. I'm not very sure. But they would be also trying to either get a draw or either get a win. So we are not sure. There are a few players, influential players for Wolves who have left the club. Most notably would be Adama Traore, and I think would be Jimenez as well. So he has also left Wolves for new, looking for a new start in a new club. So even for Adama Traore as well. So it's a big loss for them. There are glimpses where Wolves were threatening, especially against Manchester United of all clubs. They were very threatening. They could have scored a goal, but then ultimately they did lose to a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. They lost 1-0. So that is probably the gist of what I know about Wolves right now. I didn't really go into it too much. I want to focus solely on our club's formation and what is going to be. So most probable lineup, I will try to put it to you guys in the screen here. So hopefully you guys can have a look. So this is the lineup that I'm expecting against Wolves. So the whole first team, there are a bit of chopping and changing that is going around here because, like I said previously, Van Dijk already got suspended. Trent is not available. You would see a few players who have featured in the international friendlies not featuring for us in the first team, but it's still a strong lineup. This would be my prediction of how the lineup would be or should be, because it's a little bit straightforward in terms of defense and also in midfield. So I will come into the lineup. So in first place, you would have in the key goalkeeping position would have Alisson. He didn't feature in Brazil for the international friendlies. It was Ederson who featured for most of the matches. So you would definitely expect Alisson to come into it. Never mind if goalkeepers didn't really feature in the international friendlies, but in terms of traveling and all that is concerned, I think it shouldn't be an issue for Alisson to return for this game against Wolves. So Alisson would be the first option that I would choose for goalkeeper, and we will go to the back 4. So the back 4 is a little bit of a change-up that's gone on there, like I said previously. So Joe Gomez, who has previously played at right back, he would be in the right back position. And then you have Ivo Konate already back in the first team. Where they will assess him, but most probably he will start for this game. I don't really see Jarell Kwanzaa, our academy player, making a start in this game against Wolves because 3 points is absolutely crucial. And from a struggling Wolves team, I think it's highly necessary that we put our strongest player on the field. So I will put Konate and then I'll put in Matip, and you have the occasional Andy Robertson starting at left back. And then now we will move down to the midfield position. So in the midfield position, a lot of chopping and changing as well. I don't expect McAllister to start. I also don't expect I don't expect McAllister to start, and I also don't expect any other midfielder like Harvey Elliott to start as well in the midfield. But what I would do is I would expect Curtis Jones to start because in the Bournemouth match, he was good. He was very, very good. We saw the glimpses of the old Curtis Jones coming back again. Yes, the injuries and stuff like that, but he's a very, very good player. Technically good on the ball, very controlled, can hold on to passes and stuff like that. So a lot of good qualities you can see him bring up in this game against Wolves. So I will put Jones in there, and then I will put Wataru Endo as well. So the reason why I chose Wataru Endo is because I think it's highly possible Jurgen would give him a start against Wolves because with McAllister most probably would be on the bench. I don't see him starting this game, so I do expect Indo to be there and try to be the tank of number six, trying to stop the midfield of Wolves. So I would expect him to start, and I think Soboslai is more more of kind of cemented his role as the number eight in our team and cementing his place in our first team. So I would definitely put Soboslai there as well. So for that will be my midfield of Jones and Soboslai. Then I will come down to the forward position. So it's a little bit of the same, but then it's just a little bit different because we will not see Darwin Nunez start. I would expect him to start as well, but then since with the muscle trouble that he had again with Uruguay and stuff like that, I don't think he's going to take a chance. He would assess him in the team training, and then he would most probably put him in the substitutes bench, which is fair to me. For if I were to be honest, so this would be the front three that I would go for. It's still a very threatening attack. You will have Salah over there, you will have Gakpo, and then you will have Jota. So most likely you would see Gakpo and Jota, switching in terms of positioning and stuff like that. So a multi-positional role and stuff like that you would see most of the times from these kind of players. I don't want to go too into detail as to how are they going to play, but then since with Trent not being available for this game, what I would expect, I would just give a little bit, what I would expect them to play and what I would predict the way that they would play is a little bit more defensively, because I don't expect Joe Gomez to bombard up forwards or giving long passes and stuff like that. He would give a cross or two here and there in the whole of the 90 minutes, and never to doubt that he does have a good crossing ability, crossing the ball, but you wouldn't see him attacking too much because of the defensive deficiencies that we were having previously with having Trent over there. But I feel that Gomez is a bit more of a defensive option rather than a more offensive option up in our defense. I don't see him bombing forwards too much. I would see Robertson doing that instead. So if Robertson were to push up, then you would likely see the Gomez, Konate, Matip as the three centre backs, and Robertson bombing forwards, trying to assist the forwards, trying to get attacks going, trying to get crosses in. So it's most likely that's how you would see the system run. So in terms of Wolves, this would be my lineup prediction, and we will go into the match against Lask. So far, in terms of what I have heard about Lask, I mean, not heard of, I've read about Lask, is they are in the Austrian Bundesliga. They are they are in the third position. They were in the third position last season. The Red Bull Salzburg were in the first place. So Lask are also a team that are a very well coached team as well. So I don't want to take anything away from Lask as well, because you would never know. It's the Europa League. Even if it comes to the Champions League, you have a small club playing against us. You never know how they would surprise us. So very much looking forward to this game against Lask. It would be their first ever time coming over to Anfield and playing against us. Yes, it's the Europa League. So they have won a few trophies here and there. I'm not very sure of some of their players or their experienced players or who is their most influential player in the club. I don't want to go too much into that because even I don't know. So with that being said, I would jump into the lineup predictions for Lask. So UEFA Europa League, our first match day is going to come on Friday in the next week. So looking forward to it. Definitely a lot of rotation is going to happen as well. As you can see, the lineup that I put in here, it's a very rotational lineup, but one you would expect Jurgen Klopp to execute as well, looking at the whole run of fixtures that we are going to have in the whole of September and in the early of October. So I will start off with the goalkeeping position. It's going to be Kelleher over there. Why I would choose Kelleher is because he's a very good keeper, and he's very well established goalkeeper for us when it comes to cup competitions. Yes, Europa League is not a cup competition per se, but it will be a good experience for Kelleher to actually have a potentially have an uh, opportunity to play in the Europa League or in the European stage, for instance, because he barely ever has a chance to play European football. Uh, since the previous times we had Champions League football, and then you would expect Ericsson to start. But in this game, I don't really see Lask posing a lot of threat for us. But at the same time, I do know that Kelleher is a very good goalkeeper, so I would go for Kelleher at goal. He's very, very good, hoping that he would start. And in terms of the back four, this would be the rotational back four I would go for. Um, the very interesting part, I will come to it. So it would be Joe Gomez, Kanate as well. The reason I'm still putting Joe Gomez here is because most probably, Jurgen would not want to take a chance with Trent playing against Lask, especially on a Friday night if we are having league matches and a lot of fixtures, tough fixtures coming on. So in terms of rotation, I would go with Joe Gomez and not Trent for this game. And then I would put the ever-present Ibu Konate there. I will put him there in the center back position, and on the left center back position, I will put Gerald Kwanzaa. For me, why I feel that is because why wouldn't you want to give an opportunity for a young player to start in a game which is a Europa League game, or it's still a European night? It's still a European night. It's a first ever European night. We would see what happens. Um, would be a good start for Kwanzaa. I know his abilities is very, very good. Hopefully, we can see more of him, and hopefully, he starts in this game. And then on the left back position, I would expect Simikas to start. I don't expect the reason as to why Simikas should start is because it's high time. He also gets a few minutes for himself. It's better if he starts these kind of games. And I also feel that it's also fair to Robertson as well for him to get some rest or also come off the bench as well. So that was the whole reason for me to choose this lineup. So I will go into the midfield. So the midfield as well, a little bit of a change here. It's very, very interesting. I will go with the same thing. Wataru Endo, I will go with Curtis Jones, and I will go for Ryan Gravenberch. So guys, I did not mention about Ryan Gravenberch early in the Wolves game. So highly unlikely he would start that game as well, because we do have a lot of options in midfield. And I did not mention about Gravenberch earlier as well. So sorry, Gravenberch. But I am hoping Gravenberch would start this game against Lask. Why? Because Endo had a start for us against Newcastle, against Bournemouth. So, but it was the most unlikeliest of situations. So in this game, I would expect Ryan Gravenberch to start. He would have a week 2-3 to focus on himself, to focus on his development, to understand Jurgen Klopp's playing system, the formations and how to play and whatnot in the midfield position. So most probably you would expect Gravenberch to start this game at least. The least that we can do is you would expect Gravenberch to start. So in my opinion, I would definitely want him. I'm predicting Ryan Gravenberch should start in this game. It's a good opportunity for us to witness what he can bring to the team. And also, it's also interesting to see how Jurgen Klopp utilize Gravenberch's skill in the 4-3-3 formation, or it can go not only the 4-3-3, it could go to a 4-2-3-1. It could still go as a 4-3-3 attacking formation or as a holding a 4-3-3 formation where you have Endo over there. So Gravenberch has the ability to play forwards. Gravenberch also has the ability to play in the defensive positions as well. He can partner up with Endo to be in the two pivot midfielders, holding on to the team, trying to assist with the likes of Gerald Kwanzaa as well. So it's very, very interesting to see. I don't expect Alexis McAllister or Soboslai to start against Lask. It's purely rotational basis, and it's purely because of match fitness and rest as well. So you most likely would see them on the second half of the game against Lask. And then in the front three, I would still remain the same. I would go for Salah, Gakpo, and Jota. Not to say I do not expect Darwin Núñez to start, but if Darwin Núñez were to come on for Wolves as a substitute and score and whatnot, he might be in contention to start against Lask in the Europa League. So, but the front three, I would like to remain as it is. I would not change it too much. I would not even want to start Luis Diaz as well. Most probably, let's see what happens when we put Jota, Gakpo, Salah again. It happened. It did go well last season for us, so it's a good rotation. It's a good way to rotate our squad, see how it is, looking at a lot of the domestic competitions that we have, and also this European competition that we have. So, uh, I feel that this would be the best formation going forward. This would be the best team going forward, and this would be the players that I'm predicting that would be a part of the Europa League match against Lask on Friday night. So, with that being said, so this would be my team prediction for Lask and Wolves. So, guys, with that being said, I've already come towards the end of the episode. So, thank you so much for you guys for listening to my preview in terms of what would happen and how our lineup would be facing Wolves and also Lask, and also on the team news. Hope I've given you guys ample amount of information as well. Hopefully, I've given you my thoughts. Let me know what you guys would think who's going to start against Wolves and Lask. Let me know your thoughts on whether our South American players will also need to start in some of these matches or should be benched for safety reasons and for injury risk of injury or whatnot. So with that being said, thank you so much. Definitely hit on the like button, smash the like button. Also do head on over to my channel on YouTube. You guys can go and subscribe to my page, and you guys can also view some of the past videos that I've done. And also you guys can keep yourself updated to some of the videos that I will be posting up soon. So I will also update a few of my videos and what I will be doing also on Instagram. You guys can go over to my Instagram handle and follow it as well at Cop Ultras Podcast. And I also have a TikTok page and Spotify as well. I will be uploading these contents that I'm providing on YouTube on Spotify as well. So you guys can go over and take your time and listen to what I have the content that I'm providing for you guys. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys have a good weekend. And, we walk on towards the next match day against Wolves away, hoping to get the 3 points. Let's see what happens. And see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching, and take care and see you guys.